Hi BookTube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. For those of you who are celebrating, Happy Easter. This is an Easter egg that I actually have on display in my China hutch all year. My mom made it, but I specifically had her make it purple after a very moving scene involving a purple Easter egg in the Betsy Tacy books. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I also have with me the bucket for the giveaway, so we'll do that at the end here. So Laura Wicello, Laura, where is your BookTube channel? I keep waiting for it. Laura said, you've mentioned before that Jason had asked you to marry him a few times before you agreed. So what made you finally say yes? And Laura, is one of those things that when you finally know, you know. We were actually going to be engaged for a year, and our pastor was just kind of like, why would you do, like, just get, if you know you want to be married to each other, you should just get married. So we were only engaged, I think, for 6 months. So Pete's Pensive, a new booktuber that you guys should check out, asks, have you ever written stories of fiction of your own? If not, do you think it's something that you might ever do? So it's definitely something that I've thought about. I've written much more, well, I used to be a journalist, and so yeah, that's the kind of writing that I'm most familiar with. I would love to be able to write a 360 page novel or something like that, but I just honestly, I don't know what I would write about, and I feel like anything I wrote about, it would be more kind of auto fiction. Yeah, so at the moment, no, but we'll never rule anything out. Okay, Joey Leinert. Can you talk about one or two of your favorite or influential books that you read as a child? And Joey, thank you first for leaving a comment on my channel. It's great to hear from you. You know, I feel like I've talked about this a lot lately, especially with the hindsight is 2020 reader tag. But, you know, I just grew up in an environment where there were always books around and I could read whatever I want. So I guess maybe it was influential in the fact that I just had so much freedom. I mean, I could read a Babysitter's Club book and then the next weekend read a Stephen King book. I read my mother's adult romance books, which part of me wishes that I hadn't done that. But yeah, so it was just an environment of complete freedom. If you found a book in the house, you wanted to read it, then go for it. So Brian at Bookish asked, are there any books that you wish you hadn't read? And Brian, I can't believe you. There's one I've talked about several times. This monstrosity, A Winter's Tale by Mark Helprin. The only reason we still own the book is because Jason swears he's going to read it this year. He swore that last year as well. We did send Steve Donahue a Voxer message asking him what he thought about the book, and of course he thought it was like one of the greatest books of the 20th century and proposed read-along of the book. And I actually feel like I know Jason well enough to know that he won't like that book either, but what do I know? Gina, stan your books. How long have you had Blue and how did you get him? And so he's still sitting in my lap. So let me just scroll down here. So there. Blue, look up. Say hi. Say hi. Are you going to eat my questions? So we've had Blue for 4 years or so. We actually got him with another cat. His name was Harry. And we lost Harry pretty early on. We had owned them, both cats, less than a year before Harry died. So that was really hard. We got him from the Humane Society here in town, and we were asking for declawed cats. It was a very, very interesting experience. Yeah, so they eventually put us in a room with 3 cats. One cat instantly hid underneath a shelf. Harry was such a show off. He like kind of did this like prance before us. Like he was trying to persuade it, like, please take me home. And Blue instinctively knew that, yeah, like Jason, Jason and he were meant to be. And he jumped up into Jason's lap and he stayed there the whole time we were visiting. And he has never done that since. He does not sit in Jason's lap the way he sits in my lap. So anyway, but that's a little bit more about Blue. Yay, Adronta Stories. Look at all these new booktubers. It's so exciting. So Yare asks, what kind of music do you like to listen to? That's a great question. And unfortunately, like it's kind of all over the map. I do listen to classical music. I love Respighi's Airs and Dances. I grew up listening to musicals, and I loved movie soundtracks too because you just got to hear so many different artists. I also grew up at a time, like, I remember my sister buying records, okay? And it was not because it was, like, vintage and cool. It was because, like, that was the only way to hear that music. When I was a little bit older, I had a gold tape recorder, and I would literally listen to the radio in my room, and if I heard a song that I loved, I would like frantically run to the boombox and like try to record it. So so I listened to a lot of different stuff, but 2 of my favorite artists are Tori Amos and the Indigo Girls, and I think it's because I think their songs have not only beautiful melodies or beautiful music behind them, but they also have really interesting and intriguing lyrics that make you think. And the Indigo Girls have a lot of literary references in them. I think they even have a song called Virginia Woolf. So so those are 2 of my favorite artists. I don't really like current pop music. A lot of it just seems really, with the exception of maybe like Adele, it seems to just be like you can hear it once and know like all the words in the song, and I'm not really into that. Carm, if you're not familiar with him, his channel name is Grovo31, and he does a lot of music videos. So I wanted to just shout him out a little bit there to check his channel out. So Carm asks, is there an author and or a particular book that nobody but you seems to understand and enjoy? And I could not come up with an answer to this question. The only thing I can think of is there books that I feel like everyone else loves and enjoys except for me. So I mean, one of them is, and I try never to talk about this book on my channel, is Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell, which I did not know going into it had no ending. I didn't even like the BBC miniseries adaptation of it, but it is very beloved on BookTube, and I love North and South, but I do not like Wives and Daughters. So I'm going to tell you about another book here in just a second. So hold on. Lukash at A Cruel Reader's Thesis asked this profound question: what is the purpose of purring? And Lukash, you have a cat. Next question. I think I am going to save this question for future Q&As, Jen. It's such a great question. Jen, of course, from Remembered Reads, asks, what have been the weirdest, most fun, most dramatic experiences you've had since you've been on BookTube? I don't know that there's been anything necessarily weird. I mean, I have been surprised at times to be shouted out by certain channels or mentioned on certain channels. I love ShakeTube, which is this year is going to be Shake-Timber. That's probably the most fun that I have on BookTube. I really love that event and the people who participated in it, and I wish more people would participate in it. Oh, the most dramatic experience that I've had since being on BookTube was, I think it was maybe the first review I ever did. Such a mistake. Such a giant, giant mistake. I literally finished the book, like closed the covers and turned on the camera. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. And then I realized, okay, like we need to make like a calm and poised review of this. And they were such disasters. And then a larger booktuber happened to mention them, and which in some ways was good. Like it drove a lot of people to my channel, but there were some, like really heated debates about this. And to go back to Carm's question about, books that, again, I kind of flipped it a little bit, like a book that I do not love at all and is so loved on BookTube is Middlemarch. And I'm just telling you, if you don't like Middlemarch, just don't even bring it up. There were some really passionate lovers of Middlemarch who watched my reviews, and I just felt shredded at the end of it. But it was a great lesson in the challenges of making reviews, and as well as just knowing that there's some things that are kind of like sacred cows on BookTube, and you better watch out. Okay, Marilyn Maya Mendoza, she's been on BookTube, I think, for like 7 months or so. Marilyn asks, what do you think made the most difference in growing your channel? Marilyn, my dear, I looked at your channel, and your channel has over 500 subscribers. So I would say that you have a successful channel. That's fantastic. I guess I would say maybe like growing your channel, like if that's like your goal, if that's your main priority, then you need to make a lot of negative content, a lot of rant reviews. And I don't mind rant reviews, but I just, I don't want to watch a channel where every review is a rant review or every video is a negative video. I really don't like those channels. And I don't think that's you at all, Marilyn. So I think your channel is a success. I think you should feel really good about where you're at in terms of subscribers and how long you've been making videos. And I would say to you that you should do what brings you joy on your channel, that you should make your videos from your heart and let go. Like, just stop looking at the subscriber numbers. Really, truly. Nathan Fong asks, besides Jason, who has been the biggest influence to you as a reader? And Nathan, I would say it would probably have to be my grandmother. She also had a house full of books that had no rhyme or reason, which is why she ended up buying a lot of duplicate copies of things. But I went shopping with her in in her town's downtown quite a bit, and there were a number of great independent bookstores that we would visit, and she would buy me anything that I wanted, but she also would be like, have you read this? No, I haven't read it. And so then it would get added to the stack, and she spent so much money at one particular bookstore. So I have really fond memories of that. And she definitely, she's the one who bought me Pride and Prejudice. So I feel like was a really, really big influence on me as a reader. Susan Bard, what is your favorite Pulitzer and why? So if you're new to my channel, I have read all of the books that have won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction, or as it was previously known, the Pulitzer Prize for the novel. You know what, like I think maybe I need to make a video of the top 10. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what is my favorite. I mean, I love The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I love Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I love Angle of Repose by Wallace Stegner. I love, oh gosh, I can't remember the author's name. The Orphan Master's Son, that's a more recent selection. Oh gosh, Now in November by Josephine Johnson. So there's some really great Pulitzers. There's some really bad Pulitzers too. And I do hope to make a video about that as well in the future. Mary Tumulty asking 3 questions, Mary. Naughty, naughty. Asked, question number 1, were you an English major in college? No, I studied journalism. Question number 2, did you ever work for or want to work in publishing? You know, I live in such an isolated space, and it's really more important to Jason and I that we are close to our families than it is. I also, I mean, I have been to New York with Jason. I'm not sure what he was expecting, but yeah, I am much more familiar with that city than he is, and he did not really like New York. I don't know, we're just wide open spaces kind of people, and so there's not a lot of opportunity to be in the publishing industry where we live, but I did work for a newspaper for a number of years. I covered education and government. Good times, good times. And question number 3, have you read Willa Cather's novels? Well, no, not all of them, but definitely I've read My Antonia, O Pioneers, Death Comes for the Archbishop, and a Pulitzer winner called One of Ours, which is, I believe, is actually the only Pulitzer Prize winning novel that is about World War I, which just a little fun trivia fact for you there. So, okay. Aaron, still waiting for your channel. When is it coming up? What books do you and Jason fundamentally disagree on? So I actually had to talk to Jason about this. We came up with a couple. So I read The Time Traveler's Wife before Jason and I were even married. I mean, it was in hardcover. I loved it at the time, and I made Jason read it. And when he read it, he was actually reading some of the passages out loud to me, and I was like, ooh, that is kind of bad. Like, ooh, maybe I was, you know, like, I don't know. I just remember I was so swept up in this book, and it's by, I'm sorry, Audrey Niffenegger. Yeah, people, I'm sure at one time everyone was talking about this book on BookTube, but not anymore. So yeah, I liked it, but I probably need to reread it because, like I said, the passages that Jason read out loud to me, I was like, ooh, that is kind of cringeworthy. So I might have been mistaken on it. The other one, the more recent one that we fundamentally disagree on, is Lincoln and the Bardo by George Saunders. I still sort of can't believe that this book didn't win the Pulitzer Prize, but and Jason loves this book so much. He told me this morning that if he could have given the book 6 stars, he would have. I did not like it. I gave it 2 stars, I believe. So yeah, so those are a couple of books we disagree on. The truth is, we fight and disagree way more about movies than we do about books. Finally, the hardest question of all, of course, is from Mark Nash. How do you choose what you want to read since it's so varied? And then he put in, aside from when there's a horse on the cover, which we kind of joke is one of my triggers. And you know, Mark, I do a quarterly TBR on this channel for those of you who are new. And I just, I don't know, like, I think I kind of just shop from our home library. I do try to read things that fit in with the season, or my mood a little bit, but it's really helpful to have like 3 months worth of books to look at rather than our entire library. This year in particular, I have a project called 21 for 2021, and so those are like my high priority books that I've bought the most recently, and also books that have been in my TBR the longest. So I hope that answers your question, Mark. All right, so it's time for the drawing. Pete from Pete's Ponsive. So Pete, if you would like to win, and I'm happy to send them internationally, these 4 Josephine Tay books, please let me know, and please find a way to get me your mailing address. This is A Shilling for Candles, Man in the Queue, The Franchise Affair, and The Singing Sands. And if you're not interested, let me know as soon as possible so I can draw another winner, and I will keep everyone's names in there. So thank you guys so much for celebrating Easter with me, for celebrating my channel. I don't intend to do a Q&A for quite some time, so I appreciate the questions that I did get, and I also do plan to do a giveaway possibly on the 3rd year anniversary of my channel, which will be at the end of June. So BookTube, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.